Let's see if we go live. Give me a second here. Yep. All right. There you go. So if you guys are watching this, I'm actually doing this live right now. We're going to go live. So actually, if you're joining in the chat, I'm going to record this as a video for YouTube. So I will interact somewhat with the chat, but I do have some stuff I want to talk about here. Yeah, so let's just get into it. This is going to be regarding Huawei. This is now something we heard December 6th, and that's what I want to talk about because what happened, Huawei just got a investigation or a probe from the US Federal Prosecutor for trade theft secrets is what they're calling it. So I want to talk about this, what's happening, will this have an effect on the stock market, and some other related news, and we're going to look at China and see, China is going to be having their holidays, and we're seeing how it is. But before I get into that, I guess subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss this. You can join in live, drop a like, subscription, all that good stuff. Yeah, but anyways, what the main point of all of this is the markets actually made a big move at close today, pretty much right when this news got announced. It was kind of a delay, but this is one of the things that people could say is the only thing that actually made the markets move towards the end of the day. I was really surprised. So seeing this was, I was actually shooting another video, and when I was putting it back into comparison with what happened, this was really based upon, I didn't see it. It was this news, and I'm going to read the one article. I'm going to read another article from it, but what the main thing is and that I want to go over is how is this going to affect the markets in the coming days? Because last time Meng Wanzhou was arrested, that was December 6th. So you see kind of a similar situation. It happened on like a Wednesday or Thursday. 2 day, we had tomorrow's going to be Thursday. Yeah, so it happened on a Thursday was the next day. It was for the trading day. And then Friday, weekend, and then the market kind of came down. So we're seeing how the market is right here. I feel like it could do something similar, but at the same time, what is the scope of this? So I want to go over the article because there is some things that were said that make me not question the scope, but relate this to something else, especially even Facebook. So let's see here. Here's one of the articles, the main one. This was from CNN. I'm going to go over one on CNBC and then one on CNN. We'll try to keep it balanced. But China's Huawei reportedly targeted in U.S. criminal probe. U.S. federal prosecutors are reportedly working on a criminal investigation in a Chinese telecom giant, Huawei. Also, if you guys don't know, Huawei is literally the iPhone, the Apple of China. I had to talk about that. This was a big deal, and again, the implications that come up after this at the end of these articles, I'll share those with you, but they're pretty important. Investigators are looking into whether the firm stole trade secrets from U.S. business partners, the Wall Street Journal reported Wednesday, citing unnamed sources. So again, it first was dropped by Wall Street Journal, unnamed sources. We don't have too much info on it, but the Journal reported that the probe was spurred in part by civil litigation between Huawei, which makes phones and other telecom equipment, and T-Mobile, T-Mobile had accused Huawei of stealing information related to a robot used for testing mobile phones. I thought that's interesting because I thought the issue with T-Mobile was actually older, but the Journal reported that the criminal probe is at an advanced stage. And that is the thing I want to look into because at the end of the day, this is just a probe. And that was the main point I wanted to go over because the biggest part about this whole thing, this was like Facebook. Facebook got the prosecutor, that was the attorney general. They filed a lawsuit against them. But at the same time, this is just an investigation. They're looking into it. And they said it's at advanced stages, which I think is interesting. And again, you'll see kind of how people responded to it. But again, that's the next line. Huawei declined to comment directly on the report, but it said in a statement that the disputes with T-Mobile were settled in 2017 following a jury verdict finding neither damage, unjust enrichment, nor willful and malicious conduct for T-Mobile's trade secret claim. So they're saying the past issue is there. And someone asked Apple ban in China. Maybe that could be. Some people think that's already instituted, but this case, this is both a political, and that's a good, that question, what it brings up with everything is that everything about this Huawei issue right now with the probe, why it would be important. One is, what is the scope of this probe? And that's what I'm just talking about now. Is this probe even important? But this is a political move. It's making, it's taking a shot again at the relations, and that's the next article I want to show at the same time. Here is this was 2 days ago. The CEO of Huawei was talking, and he actually had some reports. So we're going to go over that. But in general, though, this is important because the markets did react, and that was the big thing. We saw how markets kind of responded to this, and the main reason is this has implications with both Apple, the trade war, what's going to happen in March, and in general, China is not looking good. So anything else could be bad. And again, too, someone again, I'm glossing over that, and I want to talk about this too. Is that the Chinese relations are getting pretty bad, and that's what this Huawei thing is really showing, is that Chinese relations are actually just getting worse than ever before. And this is simply because everything with the Huawei, the Canadian arrest, us arresting the CFO, them arresting the Canadians and the people, and that kid who got the death sentence. Like a lot of this it's crazy, yeah, and you can even see what people are saying here in the chat on this. For you guys who watch this at the end, it's crazy. It's a crazy level of punishment, and what they're reacting, and the relations are. I don't want to sound like a tinfoiler, but it does get crazy when you start looking at what China's. This is escalation, and they're provoking. That's it at every level, but it's not unilateral. I'm saying America is doing the same exact thing. So again, the Department of Justice did not immediately respond to a request or comment from CNN Business. It declined comment to the Wall Street Journal. So I want to see how this develops. Nobody's getting a response. People haven't commented on it, and that's the thing. This probe is either very meaningful or it's nothing, but the fact nothing's said on this, I want to see how this develops. The report was published one day after the recluse founder of Huawei, Ray Zhengfei, shrugged off allegations from Washington that Huawei is a threat to U.S. national security. Again, so that came up a few days ago. He came out, and this is what I'm going to talk about too with that. But he denied allegations from the Trump administration and U.S. intelligence agencies that Beijing could use Huawei equipment to snoop on Americans. The company has been prevented from supplying next-generation 5G equipment in Australia and New Zealand. We'll talk about that in another thing, but that is where some of the debate started. So it's interesting to see how other countries are already responding. American allies, but this is all just trade. I'm not viewing. This is both political and trade. Sorry for the next. So Huawei has attracted even greater scrutiny following the arrest of its chief financial officer, Ren's daughter, Meng Wanzhou, last month in Canada. She's accused by the United States of helping Huawei cover up violations of sanctions on Iran. According to Canadian prosecutors, I'm reading awful right now. Meng was released on bail in mid-December, setting her up for a lengthy legal fight over extradition to the United States. Chinese Foreign Ministry called Meng's arrest lawless, reasonless, and ruthless. Look at that, you guys. So everybody who has a complaint about how China's doing it, they feel the same way about you guys. In a statement that the company has every confidence that the Canadian-U.S. legal system will reach a just conclusion. In the case, he said the company follows all the laws and regulations where it operates. So they held it down. This is a developing story. So one, we're going to watch how this plays out. I think this is going to be important, and will it affect the market? I think in a few days. And that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to go over the next article, which one, there's important implications, and it's related to the stock market. Really, actually, let me get into that right now. I'll go over the chart at the end. But essentially, now 2 days ago, Huawei CEO praises Trump's tax policies, but hints the detention of certain individuals like his daughter could harm investment in the U.S. So think about it. This is guy's daughter, or daughter's guy. This is the dad of the CFO who got arrested, right? So there's some ties into this. He doesn't really come out and talk a lot. That's what the last article even said. But now he praises Trump, but also kind of says, you don't want to panic other investors because that's where the money comes from. And so from a political, stance, this is also going to come up as a, what's it called? This is also going to be viewed as a, I'm blanking on this. Meng Wanzhou, Ren Zhengfei. I'm totally blanking on this, but essentially, what do I need to talk about with this? Oh man, can someone refresh me in the chat? Maybe it's good that we have the chat. What was I just saying? You got me you had me looking over. I'll put guy's daughter. What was I saying? Well, actually, I know the main point. This is the scariest part. Essentially, they guided down. I'll tell you here. Here's the main article. It's really quick. Huawei CEO Ren Zhengfeng praised President Trump's tax policies Tuesday while speaking in a rare public appearance before international media. But he also hinted the U.S. might be scaring away potential investment through actions like the arrest of his daughter and Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou. For President Trump as a person, I still believe he's a great president in the sense that he was bold to slash taxes, Ren said, and I think that's conducive for the development of industries in the U.S. Ren continued saying that actions like the detention of certain individuals could have negative effects on U.S.-China relations. Meng was arrested in Canada on December 8th. U.S. authorities allege that Meng and Huawei violated Iran sanctions and may have made illegal transactions with HSBC. Authorities in the U.S. have until the end of January to file an extradition request. It's also important to treat countries with potential investors nicely so that those investments will come, Ren said. If countries or companies are getting frightened by the detention of certain individuals and then those potential individuals might get scared away, yada, yada, yada. Oh, I was even saying, we're going to get into this. The main point of this, though, foreign direct investment. That's what they're saying. You guys see saying, if people are getting scared, they're not going to invest. This is a threat at FDI. It's interesting coming from, again, this is like Tim Cook speaking, kind of threatening the Chinese government, if you saw that in a way. But continuing, it talks about China detaining people. They face scrutinies. Again, the 5G network, some other one. But now, this is the last part I was saying. During this briefing, Ren said Huawei might face challenges and difficulties in international markets and said that growth during the next year would be less than 20%. Another Chinese telecom company, ZTE, faced similar headwinds in 2018. But Ren assured the media that what happened to ZTE will not happen to Huawei. So, if you guys understand what that means, he literally said, though, at the end of this 2 days ago, and this is what I thought was interesting. It didn't get that much attention, but here it is. He literally said that Huawei's might face challenges in international markets. He didn't talk domestically, which is saying one thing about maybe their view on the domestic Chinese market and how they're going to play it. And he said that growth during the next year would be less than 20%. So he literally, Huawei just guided down 2 days ago and nobody talked about it because this is literally what it was. This was a guide down. He literally discussed, the CEO discussed that earnings, or that their growth is, they're expecting less growth for this year. And then another Chinese telecom company, ZTE, that is the other one. Last year, if you heard about them, they were in issues with the media, with Trump, the mergers and all that, but they essentially failed due to some of the policies in the U.S. State-owned Chinese company, it failed. So, what could the effects really be? But, yeah, there you go. That is the big kicker. So, we're going to watch Shanghai Composite, and that's what I was going to say on the charts. The last part, if you guys want to see, December 6th was when she got arrested. That's where, if I'm looking this on a date perspective, the market was kind of hitting near these lows here. We're kind of hitting at the highs. So, but you saw there's going to be a weekend. I think tomorrow we could get some weird volatility, but if the market doesn't gap down or just fall off, we'll expect to see a few days, at least I think maybe 4 or 5 days, maybe by next Wednesday or Thursday for the market to digest this. But there's a lot of things. We had the no confidence vote and whatnot, but other things are escalating. If things tend to get worse, then we will see. There's a lot of things that could happen. So I know a lot of you guys have questions, and a lot of you have answers as well, too. I'm Josh Answers, but I hope you guys like this. If you did, like the video. If this was helpful, subscribe, comment on here if you have questions. So, yeah, we're pretty much done with this video. Yeah, so I'm going to do this for you guys on the chat. I've recorded this for YouTube. They're still on here, so let me end this stream. And, no, I'm going to start it right back up. I'm just going to end this so they have the video clipped for everybody, and, we'll make part 2 so we could talk about this, and we'll have the chat as a live discussion. So just give me 1 second.